Let me ask you something. How long will you carry this pain? How long will you let the same wounds dictate your every move? See, I know you. You've been showing up to life bruised, battered, and broken, but with a smile plastered on your face. You're grinding, working, hustling, thinking if you just achieve enough, it'll go away. But deep down, you know it won't. I'm here to tell you something you might not want to hear, but you need to hear you. So, heal. Let me tell you a hard truth. The pain you're ignoring isn't going anywhere. You can distract yourself with work, drown it out with noise, or even pretend it doesn't exist. But let me ask you, how's that working for you? Deep down you feel it, don't you? That weight, that ache, that nagging reminder that something inside isn't right. You might not talk about it. You might even fool the people around you. But you can't fool yourself, and you definitely can't outrun it. The pain you ignore controls you because it's still calling the shots. It's there when you wake up in the morning, subtly guiding your decisions. It's there when you snap at the people you love or avoid the ones you need to face. It's there when you sabotage yourself, wondering why success doesn't feel as good as you thought it would. That pain is like a shadow, always just behind you, dictating how you show up in the world. And you might think, I don't have time to deal with this, but let me tell you, you don't have time not to. The longer you let that pain sit, the more it festers. It starts shaping how you see yourself and others. It becomes the lens through which you see the world. That heartbreak you never dealt with. Now it's the reason you don't trust anyone, that failure you never processed. Now, it's the reason you doubt yourself. Listen, I know it's scary to face it. I know you're afraid of what you'll find if you dig into that wound. But what's scarier? Living the rest of your life letting it control you. Living half a life because you're too scared to heal. You think you're avoiding the pain, but really it's avoiding healing that's keeping you stuck. Pain doesn't just go away on its own. It doesn't dissolve with time or disappear because you ignore it. No, pain buried alive grows roots. It spreads into areas of your life you never expected. It controls your relationships, your confidence, your ability to take risks, to dream, to love. And the worst part, you don't even realize it's happening because you've gotten so used to it. But let me tell you something powerful. You don't have to live like this. Healing is possible. It's not easy, and it won't happen overnight, but it's worth it. The first step is acknowledging that the pain is there. Stop pretending. Stop running. Stop lying to yourself. Look in the mirror and admit it. I'm hurt. I'm tired. I need to heal. When you do that, you take the first step to take your power back. You stop letting pain run your life and start making room for the life you deserve. The pain you ignore controls you, but the pain you confront can set you free. It's time to stop running and start healing because your future depends on it. Let's talk about what freedom really means. I'm not talking about physical freedom or financial freedom. Those are great, but they're not the whole story. I'm talking about the kind of freedom that lets you breathe deep and feel light. The kind of freedom that doesn't wake you up at 3 a.m. with racing thoughts or send you into a spiral over something small. The freedom I'm talking about comes when you heal. You see, unhealed wounds act like chains. They hold you back in ways you don't even realize. They weigh on your mind, your heart, your spirit. You think you're moving forward, but those chains keep pulling you back. That grudge you've been holding on to, it's a chain. That insecurity you've been carrying since someone broke your confidence. Another chain, the shame you buried deep because you don't want anyone to see it. That's the heaviest chain of all. And let me tell you, it's exhausting to live like that. You might not even realize how much energy you're spending just trying to keep it all together. Every day you're carrying the weight of your pain, trying to function, trying to smile, trying to convince yourself that you're fine. But you're not free, are you? True freedom doesn't come from pretending the pain isn't there. It comes from confronting it, working through it, and letting it go. When you heal, you release yourself from the grip of your past. You stop being defined by what happened to you, by who hurt you, or by the mistakes you made. Healing allows you to rewrite the story you've been telling yourself. Think about it, how much of your life is being shaped by things you haven't healed from. How many decisions are you making out of fear, out of anger, out of insecurity? When you don't heal, those emotions sit in the driver's seat. They dictate what you say, what you do, and even what you believe you're capable of. But when you heal, you take the wheel. You get to decide how you live, not your pain. Healing isn't just about feeling better. It's about living better. It's about breaking free from the cycles that keep you stuck. It's about showing up fully in your relationships, your work, your dreams. It's about finally being able to experience joy without waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's about finding peace, not just in quiet moments, but in the chaos of life too. Freedom isn't about running away from the pain. It's about running toward healing. It's about facing what hurts with courage and saying, you don't control me anymore. Because once you heal, those chains fall off, the weight lifts. And for the first time, you'll feel what it's like to live without limits. So ask yourself, what's holding you back? What's keeping you from the freedom you deserve? Whatever it is, it's time to let it go. It's time to heal, because healing is the key to freedom. And freedom, that's where life begins. We've all done it. We've all put on a mask, pretending we're okay when we're really falling apart inside. We smile through the pain, laugh through the tears, and acted like everything is fine. Because we're afraid of what will happen if we let the mask slip. We're afraid of being judged, of being seen as weak, or worse, of being rejected. But here's the truth, that mask, it won't save you. It never will. At first, it might feel like it's working. You walk through life hiding behind that mask, and for a moment, it feels like you're in control. People think you've got it all together, and you start to believe it too. But the longer you wear it, the more it suffocates you. The mask might hide your pain, but it doesn't heal it. It covers up your wounds, but it doesn't close them. In fact, it only makes things worse because you're never addressing the root cause of your suffering. When you wear a mask, you're denying yourself the very thing you need to heal: honesty. You're hiding your truth, keeping your vulnerability locked away in a cage. And in doing so, you're preventing yourself from moving forward. The more you pretend, the deeper the wound grows. The more you smile through the hurt, the more it seeps into your life, into your relationships, and into your choices. Eventually, the mask becomes a prison. You start to feel like you don't even know who you are without it. You've hidden behind it for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to show your real self to the world. You may even start to believe that the mask is who you really are, that this version of yourself, the one who pretends, who puts on a brave face, is the only version that's acceptable. But that's a lie. The truth is, the world doesn't need your mask. It needs your real, authentic self. The first step toward healing is to take off the mask. It's the hardest thing to do because it feels like you're posing your weakness, your flaws, your pain to the world. But it's in that very vulnerability that true healing happens. When you stop pretending, when you stop hiding, you give yourself permission to heal. You give yourself permission to feel, to be angry, to be sad, to be human. And that's when the real work begins. Taking off the mask doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough to face what's been holding you back. It means you're ready to confront your pain instead of running from it. It means you're no longer willing to let fear control your life. Because the reality is, the longer you keep hiding, the longer you stay stuck. The longer you keep pretending, the longer you let that mask define you. So ask yourself, what's behind your mask? What would happen if you stopped hiding and started showing up as your true self? The world may not be ready for it, but you don't need the world to be ready. You just need to be ready to heal. And that starts with removing the mask. Only then can you truly be free. Healing is not a shortcut. It's not something that happens overnight, and it's certainly not easy. So no magic pill, no quick fix. When you decide to heal, you sign up for a journey that is messy, uncomfortable, and sometimes even painful. It's going to challenge you in ways you didn't expect. But let me tell you, it's worth it. When you begin to heal, you'll find that it's not just the physical wounds that need attention. It's the emotional scars, the mental blocks, the memories that you buried deep in your soul. These things aren't visible to the eye, but they're the ones that hold the most power over you. They affect how you see the world, how you make decisions, how you trust, and how you love. But facing them, that's the hard part. Healing isn't about ignoring the pain or trying to push through it. It's about acknowledging it, sitting with it, and working through it. It's about feeling the discomfort and realizing that it's part of the process. It's about confronting the beliefs you've carried for years, the fears that have kept you stuck, the guilt that holds you back from moving forward. All of this requires a lot of energy, a lot of patience, and a lot of courage. You'll have to face things you'd rather not face, and you'll have to let go of parts of yourself that no longer serve you. But every step you take is a step toward freedom. You'll experience moments where you feel like you're making no progress, where it seems easier to give up and revert to the old ways of coping. You might even tell yourself, this is too much. I'm not strong enough to do this. But listen, healing isn't linear. It's not a smooth path. There will be setbacks, days when you question everything, days when you want to quit. But it's in those moments when you feel like you're at your lowest that you must push through. Because healing is about resilience. It's about continuing to move forward, even when you don't feel like it. The process of healing also demands honesty. You can't heal what you refuse to face. So be prepared to confront your past. Be prepared to acknowledge the things you buried. But know that doing so doesn't mean you're weak or broken. It means you're brave enough to rebuild. You're strong enough to acknowledge that something needs to change. It's going to be hard, and there will be times when you wonder if it's worth it. But here's the truth. The healing will be harder to ignore than the pain. Once you start, you'll realize that the work is not just about fixing the wounds of the past. It's about creating a better future. It's about shedding the layers of fear, insecurity, and shame that have been holding you down. It's about giving yourself the opportunity to live a fuller, freer, and more meaningful life. So when you feel like giving up, when it seems too much to handle, remember this healing is hard work, but it's the only work that guarantees growth. It's the only work that leads to the freedom you've been longing for. And when you come out on the other side, you'll see that every drop of sweat, every tear, every painful step was worth it. You'll realize that healing doesn't just change your past, it transforms your entire future. Imagine for a moment that everything you've dreamed of, true happiness, fulfilling relationships, peace of mind, success, and joy is already within your reach. Now picture this, you're standing in the way, not because of your circumstance, not because the world is against you, but because you're carrying unhealed pain, baggage, and unresolved trauma that's holding you back. Your future is waiting for you to step into it, but it can't fully embrace you until you heal. The reality is that the life you want, the one that's vibrant, full of opportunity, and free of emotional weight requires a version of you that is healed, whole, and wholehearted. You can't build the life of your dreams on a foundation of pain. That foundation will crack, it will falter, and it will prevent you from stepping into the full potential you were always meant to reach. You might think that healing isn't urgent or that it can wait for another day, but that's a dangerous myth. Healing isn't something that you can delay without consequence. Every day you avoid it, you're holding yourself back from the future you're capable of creating. The person you are right now carrying unresolved grief, trauma, regrets, insecurities cannot experience the fullness of life that awaits you on the other side. But the healed you, they're capable of so much more. The healed version of yourself is free to make decisions with clarity and confidence, free to take a risk and pursue passions, free to love deeply and trust openly. Healing is the key that unlocks that future. When you heal, you release the weight of past hurts that hold you in place. You give yourself the freedom to move forward, unburdened by the pain that once kept you stuck in old patterns. You free yourself from self-doubt, from fear, from the limiting beliefs that you've held onto for far too long. You open yourself up to possibilities you didn't even know existed. But until you address the wounds, the emotional scars, the parts of yourself that you've neglected or hidden away, that future will always be just out of reach. Think about it. How often do you settle for less than what you truly deserve? How often do you hold back in relationships, in your career, in your dreams because you don't believe you're worthy of more or you're afraid of being hurt again? That's your pain talking, not your potential. The healed version of you would take risks and embrace their worth. They would claim the future that's been waiting for them all along. You're not meant to live a life defined by your past. You're meant to step into a future where you're free from the shadows of old hurts. But you can't access that future without healing. Healing is the bridge from where you are now to where you want to be. Without it, you'll always be looking at the life you want through a foggy window. But when you heal, the fog lifts, the path becomes clear, and your future, the one that's been waiting for the healed version of you, finally opens up. It's time to stop holding back. It's time to stop waiting for the right moment to heal, because that moment is now. But your future is waiting, but it's waiting for the healed you to show up. Are you ready to step into that future? Your future self is already cheering you on, hoping you'll take that first step. It's time to heal because your future is waiting for you to claim it. There is one thing we all have in common: time. It doesn't stop for anyone. Every second that passes is a second you'll never get back. And yet, how many of us waste it? How many of us tell ourselves, I'll heal someday, or I'll work on myself when the time is right? We all have a tendency to think there will be a better moment, a perfect time when everything aligns and suddenly healing will be easier. But here's the truth: the right time is now. The moment you decide to heal is the moment your life begins to change. You might be thinking, but life is so busy. I have too much going on. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of daily responsibilities, work, family obligations, expectations. We often use these as excuses to put our own needs, especially our emotional and mental health, on the back burner. But here's the thing, the longer you delay, the longer you're holding yourself back from the life you want. You are your own greatest investment. And if you don't prioritize your healing, you risk carrying your pain with you into everything you do. The pain that goes unaddressed doesn't just fade away. It compounds. It infects your relationships, your work, your self-worth. It shows up in ways you don't even realize, influencing your decisions and shaping your life in subtle yet profound ways. You think you're managing it, but the truth is that unhealed part of you is running the show. So why wait any longer? Why allow yourself to remain in a place of hurt and confusion when the power to change is already in your hands? The time for healing is not in the future. It's right here, right now. You have everything you need to begin the journey toward healing: strength, awareness, courage, and you don't have to wait for a specific event, a special moment, or for things to slow down. The healing process doesn't require a perfect environment. It only requires your commitment to face what's been holding you back. Every day that passes is a day you could be moving forward. Think about the opportunities you've missed because of the emotional baggage you've been carrying. Think about the relationships that haven't flourished because you were afraid to be vulnerable, to trust, to love fully. Think about the dreams that have been put on hold because fear, insecurity, or past trauma have kept you from taking the next step. These missed moments are precious and they don't have to be your reality. The truth is, waiting for the perfect time to heal is a trap. The only thing you're really waiting for is permission. So let me give you permission right now, permission to heal, permission to invest in yourself, permission to step into the version of yourself that you've always been capable of becoming. You don't need to wait for a dramatic event or some magical sign to start. The sign is here. The moment is now. Your time is valuable and your life is too precious to keep putting your healing on hold. The only thing standing between you and the life you deserve is your decision to step into the present moment and begin. Your future is waiting for you, but it can only unfold when you choose to heal. Don't wait any longer. Don't tell yourself you'll do it later. Your time is now because this is your time to heal, to grow, and to live fully.